Technology in the geospatial world moves fast, from new tools that enhance analysis to updates that streamline the way we share and visualize data. With so much changing each season, it can be tough to keep up. That's why we're launching Getting Technical, a new segment where we bring you the latest tech developments, trends, and insights shaping GIS today. Whether you're deep in spatial workflows or just starting to explore what's possible, this is your quarterly check in on what's new, what's coming, and most importantly, why it matters. Let's take a look at what's happening this season. Welcome back to Geographical Thinking. I'm Michelle Brake, and I'll be your guide as we explore ideas, stories, and conversations through the lens of geography. Before we dive into today's episode, I'm excited to announce a new segment here on Geographical Thinking called Getting Technical. Each season, Allison O'Brien and a team of product experts will explore the latest updates, trends, and tools in the world of GIS technology. Whether it's a new feature in your favorite app, an upcoming release, or tech tips to make your world easier. This segment is your go-to guide for staying current. So let's get started. Here is our very first edition of Getting Technical. Over to you, Allison.
Thanks so much, Michelle. So we have three product experts here today. We'll start off by talking about ArcGIS Online with Maggie Samson. Then we'll head on into what's new in ArcGIS Enterprise with Jarret Totton. And we'll round it off with Céline Doré, where we chat about ArcGIS Pro 3.5. To start, we have Maggie Samson here with us. Maggie, welcome to Getting Technical. How have you been?
Thanks, Allison. I'm doing great, and I'm so glad to be here with you today to talk all about ArcGIS Online.
Amazing. So, can we remind everyone, or maybe explain for the first time to some people, what your role is here at Esri Canada?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm on our product management team here at Esri Canada, and I specialize in ArcGIS Online. So that means, we work with the teams at Esri Inc. in the States to make sure that everything our customers want to see in the products is there and representing the Canadian customer to the development team as they build ArcGIS Online. So, know as much as there is to know about the product and representing our customers, the Canadian voice in the Esri system.
Great. So thank you for that little intro. Now let's dive into some of the new and improved features of this past year. So, can you start us off with some highlights from the June 2024 update?
Yeah, absolutely. We haven't talked about ArcGIS Online together as an organization in a while, so there's definitely a lot of things that have happened, and wanted to go way back to last summer to remind people of some of the things they might have missed. 2024 was a pretty good update for ArcGIS Online, especially in June. We saw a really exciting feature that people have been begging for years. Back in our tech support days, I should say, together we worked there, Allison. We finally got the recycle bin in ArcGIS Online, so users can remove features from their account and they're held in the recycling bin for 14 days or 336 hours exactly. So if any accidents happen, you can restore those now. And something that I know people were almost begging for a really long time in ArcGIS Online. Glad to see it's there.
Nice. So that recycle bin was such a heavy hitter, right? So thanks
Yeah,
for sharing.
absolutely.
Awesome. So next up, we had the November 2024 release. So what were some key features there?
Yeah, there was a lot of smaller things. I definitely June is our heaviest release every year with big applications, but something that was really standing out in November was we had the model builder introduced into ArcGIS Online. It was beta at the time. It's no longer now if we jump to current day, but it was released back in November of last year. So very exciting to see that. A lot of users are probably familiar with model builder in ArcGIS Pro, and a very similar experience was introduced in online. So you can set up those workflows and share them with your colleagues. Great to have in the map view. There was also another great ad that we saw in November, which was for those who are especially migrating from Web App Builder, which we know is retiring at the beginning of next year, 2026, into Experience Builder. most likely. You could obviously transition to another application as well, but the most likely transition method is going to be Web App Builder into ArcGIS Experience Builder. And in the November 2024 release, we saw the introduction of Express Mode in Experience Builder. So that's a new way to create experiences that's just more streamlined and sort of a seamless flow with the application, where you can have an experience where you select a template similar to Web Builder and you can get an application up and running in a matter of really only a couple of minutes, versus probably with a heavier Experience Builder application, it might take a little bit more time, more experience. This is really to get people started, and you can make that transition a lot easier.
Express Mode was a fabulous addition. I love that one. I've used it quite a bit now. So thanks for that. But now let's dive in to February 2024. Yeah, what
Yes,
happened
February
then?
2024. Yeah, exactly. I would definitely say in the last year of ArcGIS Online updates, February 2024 is probably our lightest release. Not a lot of big heavy hitter features, but a lot of small things that always just sort of improve quality of life. Sometimes those little small ads can be the best ones for a lot of our users. It's going to impact you day to day. So maybe you miss some of these things, but one of the things that was interesting is with ArcGIS dashboards, web analytics were added into dashboards. So we had that previously for some of our other applications in ArcGIS Online, but now dashboards has it too. Basically, this means you can work with Google Analytics to measure some engagement with the dashboard. So you can get an understanding of who's using your applications, or how often they're getting used, which is really important for a lot of our customers to know if their applications are successful and how they can maybe make the engagement higher if they're not. So a great opportunity to work with your content there in dashboards. And the other two things I wanted to highlight from this release are both in the map viewer. First is that ArcGIS Online now supports display filters. So when they're published from ArcGIS Pro. So if you have filters set up in your map in ArcGIS Pro on your layers, and you have display settings enabled there, and you publish into ArcGIS Online, they're going to be honored in your map viewer. So you don't have to reconfigure all those things. It's just automatically captured from Pro into the map, which is a nice seamless transition if you're working in both the desktop and online environments. And then the last thing I want to talk about for this release is the opportunity to create and manage feature templates in ArcGIS Online in the map viewer. Again, something that you might be familiar with in ArcGIS Pro that's taken a while to get into online, but feature templates are just a really great tool when you're editing to have a specific set of configurations on a layer. So you can have specific attributes set as defaults, and then symbology for different types of attributes as well. Just sort of streamlining the editing process and making sure that things are more standardized when you have a lot of different people who are editing features in the same layer. So a great add to see in ArcGIS Online in 2025, February of this year.
Awesome. So next up, we had, which one was it? June 2025, the most recent one, right? That was next. What do you want to
Yes.
show? What do you want to talk about that in that one?
Yeah, so June just happened very recently, just this past couple months in the summer here. A big update for ArcGIS Online, just like June often is, and there's a lot of things in here that you can talk about. I definitely recommend you attend or watch the recording for the webinar that you and I are doing together, Allison, talking about what's new in ArcGIS Online, to see a lot more of the details in that, or even just reviewing the blogs that are available. There's quite a lot in this release, but there's sort of like three main areas that I want to highlight from it. First one being update to user types. We definitely hear about user types a lot in ArcGIS Online, and it's been kind of changes happening with over the last couple of years, progression from the older licensing model to what we're working with now. And in this release, we saw a great update with addition of 4 different applications added to user types. So previously you would have had to purchase an extension to work with these, and they were separated from just the standard users, and now they're included in different levels of user type. So I'll be more specific, but just that's the idea. The 4 that were added was ArcGIS Business Analyst Web App Standard. So the web version of Business Analyst. This is included for anyone with a creator and above license in ArcGIS Online now. Business Analyst is a really overlooked feature in ArcGIS Online, probably because you did have to have that extension, and not every organization sees when they see the word business, maybe you're a municipality, you don't consider yourself a business, but a really great tool for making decisions about locations and understanding a community that your organization exists in. So really exciting to see that added for creators and above. And then for professional and up, we have ArcGIS City Engine, which is a 3D city design tool that was added in, and Similarly, we also have ArcGIS Urban. I believe ArcGIS Urban is for Professional Plus, though. So for just Professional, it's ArcGIS City Engine and ArcGIS Navigator were both added. So Navigator is a great opportunity to work with your mobile workers, especially, or anyone working with workforce. A great tool to understand routing in your community. And then City Engine is a 3D design software. So as we know, more people are working with digital twins and 3D data. So having access to City Engine is a great tool. And then, yes, ArcGIS Urban is available as well. Also a 3D modeling tool, important for impact assessment in communities and development when you're developing new areas. This is for Professional Plus and those users. So it's for the most advanced users in ArcGIS Online, but another great tool to have without having to get that extension. All of those I highly recommend people check out and try to get some experience with, because you would have probably not had access before, but you very likely will have access now. Another couple of things that I wanted to talk about. First is Experience Builder. Not as big of a change as user types. That's going to affect everybody, but these things are things that from the product management side of things, we are hearing customers talking about and asking for them all the time. So happy to finally have these updates in Experience Builder, and that is attribute editing. Batch attribute editing is supported now, so you can edit multiple features at the same time, something that we've been asking for. I know users, it's something that exists in Web App Builder, and it's now in Experience Builder as well, so you can finally move those editing processes over to that app. And then arcade support as well in Experience Builder, so you can set up things to be more customized, like color coding your lists like you can in dashboards. You can do that in Experience Builder now too. So very excited to see those in this release in June. And then the last thing, it's certainly very flashy. We're hearing about it all the time, but it's coming in full force to ArcGIS Online. And it's all of the AI assistants that we've got coming previously and now. There's really sort of two areas that are interesting to focus on. First is we have 3 assistants moving out of beta into preview, which is a new sort of level in the release cycle. Beta, maybe you wouldn't have had access before. Not every organization is participating in beta, so maybe you didn't see them, but in preview, everyone should have access as long as your organization is willing to work with assistants. It's a setting in your organization to opt in to work with AI assistants. But preview means that, they're still not 100% fully released. They're still being improved, but you can work with technical support if you have issues. So just be aware of that new name beside things if you're wondering what preview means. It's just sort of a step between fully generally available and beta that lets you work with tech support. But the 3 assistants in beta are Business Analyst Web App Assistant. So for those people who are now accessing Business Analyst for the first time, you've got this assistant to help you come up with popular workflows and work with infographics. A great tool to help you get started. ArcGIS Survey 123 Assistant, maybe you've seen it before, but it helps you really quickly and easily build forms in the web designer just with a conversational style. So you can give it a prompt like, give me a survey about people attending farmers markets, and it can pop out a survey for you in really just a couple of seconds. And then very exciting for especially in Canada here and our federal staff, the Survey 123 and ArcGIS Instant App Translation Assistant. So it can automatically with AI translate your surveys or your instant apps from one language into a number of other supported languages, including French. So exciting for our customers who maybe they're not as strong in French. You can get started with the translation right in there in the assistance. And then in beta, I did want to throw it in because it's great. In the map viewer, we also have the new Arcade Assistant. So if you aren't comfortable with Arcade, but you can get a lot more out of ArcGIS Online when you use it. The assistant is supported in map viewer when it comes to symbology, some analysis, and pop-ups. So a great opportunity to sort of learn and get started with Arcade. It is still in beta, so not everyone will see it if they're not opted into beta. And right now it's just in the map viewer, but it's exciting to see where that might go in our other applications in the future.
Thank you, Maggie. So many great new features. This is very, very exciting. So I guess that's all the time we have with you today. Thank you for joining us and sharing all that information. It was lovely chatting.
Thanks, Allison. Really great to be here.
So that was Maggie Samson, our ArcGIS Online product specialist. And next up, we're going to talk about ArcGIS Enterprise with Jarret. Welcome to Getting Technical, Jarret. How are you doing?
I'm doing great today. Yeah, this is my first podcast, so interested to see how it works.
Well, welcome aboard. We're so happy that you're here. And let's start off with an easy topic for you, okay? What's your role here at Esri Canada?
Yeah, so similar to Maggie, I'm on the product management team and I'm the product specialist for ArcGIS Enterprise. So I do a lot of interfacing with Esri Inc. to figure out what updates are coming, what features, and then also just sharing those updates internally with Esri Canada, and then also getting that information out to our customers within Canada.
Well, then you're the perfect person to discuss this topic today. So, our goal today with me and you now is to talk about ArcGIS Enterprise, right? So, can you explain how the releases work?
Yeah, so today I was really had a lot to say about our most recent release was ArcGIS 11.5, which came out in May of this year, and that is a long-term release. So 11.5, that odd number on the end means that it's a long-term release, and what a long-term release means is that it gets 2 years of general support or of general availability. It gets 2 years of extended support and 2 years of mature support. The general availability, all bug fixes, patches, new environment certification, that will all happen within those 2 years. Extended support, uh, bug fixes and patches will still occur, but certification for new environments won't happen anymore. And then once we get into that final 2 years of mature support, there's no longer any bug fixes or patches. So in total, it gives you 6 years that Esri Canada will be supporting your product. Then there's short-term releases. So a short-term release, the most recent was 11.4 in the fall, and it gets 2 years of general availability with all the new environment certification, hot fixes and patches, and then it gets 1 year of extended support where it just gets support from our tech support guys.
Awesome. So that hopefully helps people understand the update schedule, but let's get into what's new and exciting, okay? So take it away.
Yeah, so there's a few new kind of the highlights with 11.5. There's a new About API. So the About API gives you access to the details of your deployment. So it breaks it down by machine. You'll see how your machines are licensed, what their roles are, what their specifications are, and you can access that from the portal admin in JSON, or you can go right from your portal site and view it in the GUI in there. There's also a new service usage by user report, and that's available in the ArcGIS Server Admin API. And what that gives you is you can look at your services and see who's using them, when, and how much. So that just gives you a bit more insight on how your environment's being used. There's also improved audit logging for ArcGIS Server that was added to build on what was done in the previous version, and then a new sublayer search feature. And that sublayer search, if you have hosted feature layers and you have nested features, you can search based on the names of those nested features.
Some great things noted there. So thank you for that. But now I want to hear about any issues that have been addressed because I'm sure there are a lot of people curious about this type of thing.
Yeah, so I'm just going to give a couple. I think the really cool thing for me is there's a really good document on Esri.com. Whenever a release comes out, they share a document that says all the bugs that were addressed, all the enhancements that were applied. Uh, so I really recommend checking that document out. If there's been bugs or enhancements that you've been waiting on, and it's driving when and what version you want to update. Uh, for me specifically, there was a bug repaired if public editing was enabled and someone was logged in with a viewer user type, they wouldn't be able to edit. So that has been changed, that if there's public editing, everybody is able to edit. Uh, and then for enhancements, there is a new enhancement that adds support for displaying, adding, removing, and modifying attachments in the feature table in Map Viewer. So that's a pretty good enhancement. But again, if you have enhancements that you've been following or bugs that have been holding you up, I really recommend checking out that document.
Great. We love to hear when there are bug fixes. So that's great. Thanks for that. So when users are looking to upgrade, what considerations do they need to take into account?
Yeah, so it's usually a pretty painless upgrade process, or it can be, as long as you plan ahead well. Of course, the further back you are in versions and the further ahead the more complications and planning you have to do. So it's really recommended that users are on at least 10.9.1 before they upgrade to anything in the 11.x versions, including 11.5. So if you're before 10.9.1, maybe you'll need to do an intermediary step to get to 11, just because of some changes that happen between 10 and 11. Also, another consideration is that Windows Server 2012 is not supported for any version in the 11 series. So if you're still running Windows Server 2012, you're going to need to upgrade your operating system before you go to 11.5.
Okay, those are some good tips. So we're nearing the end of our time. We have a couple more things to touch on, but I'd love to hear about what's new in the app.
Yeah, so in the app, so for dashboards, we have new dual axis charts. So if you have a secondary value that you want to graph based on, you can add that to your graphs and charts, and your users will be able to see that. You'll be able to get a lot more insight from your data. There's new measurement tools added to the map view, so you can measure distances and areas right from your dashboards. And then there's also the ability to set map extents for 3D scene views. So that's just an enhancement as we move ahead with more enabling people to use 3D a lot more in the ArcGIS ecosystem. Then in Experience Builder, we have some new accessibility options in 4 of the widgets. So the accordion, bookmark, search, and swipe widgets just have some new features that make it more accessible for everyone. So I encourage you to check those out. Then there's also support in Experience Builder for WebP images. I don't know about you, but I'm seeing that format popping up a lot, especially when you're grabbing images off the web. So just gives you another file format that you can use natively. And then in configurable apps, that's another one of our main apps. We have 3 new templates to get you started. So there's a new observer template, and what that gives you is you can see what's going on in an area and summaries of your data, just to kind of get you started with a template. And there's also a compare template where you can compare 2 maps, and then a stream flow viewer that allows you to kind of look at your hydrological data.
Great new features. That's very exciting. So finally, I've heard some chatter about version 12.0. What's the deal? How should people prepare for that version?
Yeah, so 12.0 is expected this fall. It's major version release, hence the number change. So there's some big changes. The biggest change is that the JavaScript API 3.x stuff it will be gone. So this is the last version. That 11.5 is where you're going to sit and you're going to migrate away from Web App Builder to Experience Builder. Configurable apps will no longer be available. You'll migrate towards instant apps, and also Map Viewer Classics going away. So you really need to make sure you do your migrations in 11.5 before you upgrade to 12.0. 12 or 11.5 is also the last version to include the tile cache data store. After this version, we'll only have the object store data store. So this is also the time to migrate away from that. Other than that, they usually include some big new features, and they're hoping to in this version. So we'll have to wait and see what 12.0 brings.
Amazing. Good stuff, Jarret. So, a lot of great information there. Thank you for joining us today. It was a pleasure getting your expertise.
Right on. Happy to be here.
Awesome. So, that was Jarret Totton, our enterprise product specialist coming from our product management team. Next up, we'll chat about ArcGIS Pro with Céline Doré. Hi, Céline. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, Allison.
So, like we did with the others, let's start with getting a bit of an intro from you. What do you do here at Esri Canada?
So I work on the ArcGIS Pro and imagery team in technical support at Esri Canada. So I help users across the country get the most out of the GIS tools, whether it's troubleshooting issues, answering questions, and just making sure they're set up for success with ArcGIS Pro and imagery.
So you are what we may say a pro at ArcGIS Pro.
Yeah, I try.
So we're going to talk about what's new, right? Specifically in version 3.5. So let's dive in, get her going.
Okay, so ArcGIS 3.5 brings a strong focus on productivity tools, improved performance, and just overall quality improvements across the board. Esri really put an effort into refining the experience for users and hopefully making day to day tasks more efficient and a lot smoother. They added enhancements in pretty much all areas, whether mapping, database management, geoprocessing, editing, sharing layouts, etc., etc. There's quite a few new tools for raster processing, some new raster functions. Editing tools have had significant upgrades too. They now offer more customization and better performance, making it easier to manage your data. And overall, I think 3.5 is less about flashy new features, but more about meaningful improvements that should help you get your work done faster and more efficiently.
That's a great intro into what this version entails. So let's dive into some of the tools worth highlighting. Can you let me know what are some cool ones you want to talk about?
Oh, yeah, sure. These are the ones I thought were cool. Again, some other users might think other ones are cooler, but I really like that they added a memory workspace for geoprocessing tools so you can set the outputs of the parameters path to a temporary memory workspace. This is great, especially if you're working, you know you have to run multiple tools and they're going to create a lot of different outputs. Maybe you don't want all those extra outputs. If you're anything like me, I don't delete anything, so I get a very bloated file geodatabase. So now you can do these tools, you can run a temporary memory workspace. And another benefit of it is the memory workspace um, is actually faster than saving to a folder or database. So you should see some performance improvements also. Another tool that I thought was really cool is you can now symbolize your vertices and nodes and your dangles. So you can activate this when you're editing. So you can actually see how your data is configured with like symbols. And you can edit those symbols if you don't like the look of them. And it's a really easy way to see if you have dangles that you need to change, or if maybe your polygons aren't adjacent, you can actually see it with these vertices and nodes. Um, Another thing I thought was cool was that you now have the option to configure your metadata editor to look exactly like the one in ArcGIS Online. So previously, you had your ArcGIS Pro metadata editor, which you might have been comfortable with, and then you would publish to online and you'd look at the metadata, and it was different enough that it was a little hard to like find maybe some features that you're like, oh, I know I edited this, but I just can't find it where it is. So now you have the option to, keep the classic metadata editor in Pro, or you can switch to have the same metadata editor as ArcGIS Online, so you don't have to you know, look at two different metadata editors. You can have the same ones going forward.
We love seeing things look similar from ArcGIS Pro and ArcGIS Online. So that was a great, great addition. Next up, I want you to touch on something that is super new, super exciting, portal projects. Can you let us know what they are?
Yeah, so I think that's probably, I would agree, it's probably one of the biggest additions in ArcGIS 3.5 is the introductions of proto projects. So this is essentially a project that you are storing and that's going to be synced to your organization's enterprise portal. So it allows you to do real-time collaboration or access it from multiple devices. So I think some of the benefits is you can use it multiple different ways. You could be as one user, use it on one computer. It's just a different area where you can store your project. Or you can, maybe you're a person that works from home, works from the office, works out in the field. So it's an easy way for you as one user to access your portal projects from multiple different computers. It's also an easy way to share within your organization a particular project. If you're, multiple people on the GIS team, it's an easy way for everybody to connect to it. Probably the best benefit to portal projects, which I thought was cool, is you can have multiple users working together on the same project at the same time. Again, there's some caveats to that. So when you're working with a project, it does create a local copy. So you're working on your copy, other users are working on their copy. So when you're saving, you have to think of the save a little differently. So you're not just saving the project, you're technically syncing it from your local copy to the copy that's stored in your enterprise portal. So again, if you're used to sync, it's kind of the same idea. Again, just because multiple people are working on it, obviously you still have to communicate because you can't be working on the same particular map or the same particular layout. And as you're syncing, you might get asked, like, hey, these are the changes that were implemented. Do you want to go forward? You have to keep an open communications with your colleagues just so you don't overwrite maybe something that they just did and you didn't think it was important, but they did. So again, I think it's a really neat, it's just an easier way to work with a project. Again, you have to keep in mind this is very new. It's just for 3.5 at this time, and you can only work with it with Enterprise 11.4 or higher. And a portal project can't be open in different versions of ArcGIS Pro. So if you have colleagues that are working at 3.4, they won't be able to access this portal project.
Thank you for sharing that information. So, from what I know, this was a highly anticipated feature, right? So, I can't wait to hear some of our user stories of how they're liking it, how they're using it. So Céline, I really appreciate you joining us today. Thanks for being here. It's always nice to catch up with you.
Yeah, it was nice to talk to you, Theo, and thank you for including me.
Awesome. So that was Céline Doré, a senior ArcGIS Pro and imagery consultant from our support services team. Maggie, Jarret, Céline, thank you all for being here and sharing your expertise. We'll see you next time.
And that is a wrap on this edition of Getting Technical. Whether it's new capabilities, smarter workflows, or fresh ways to apply spatial thinking, staying informed helps us all work smarter and think bigger. We'll be back next quarter with more updates to keep you in sync with the evolving GIS landscapes. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep thinking geographically.